Hello everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm quickly going to be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful dress with a Milkmaid bustier. As you can see, the pattern drafting tutorial is already up on my channel if you're yet to see it. So if you're interested in seeing how I made this full dress, keep on watching and let's get started.
Build up until I can't hear that my mind.
So guys, this is the fabric I'm going to be using to make this dress. It's crepe, and what I have here is about 3 yards. So to be able to actually make this dress, you will need at least 3 yards of fabric. Now in my last tutorial, I shared with you guys how to draft the pattern for the upper part of this dress, which is what you're seeing here, the Milkmaid bustier. So if you're yet to see that, I would advise that you go ahead and check it out because you will need it to be able to make this dress. So I'll go ahead and use these patterns now to cut out on my actual fabric. So these are all the patterns traced out on my fabric, as you can see. So this is the front piece here, and this one is going to be the cup. So you can see that I added half an inch stitching allowance all the way around the pattern paper for the cup, this front piece, and also for the back piece as well. I also went ahead to cut out lining for all the pieces that I have here, because this fabric that I'm working with is very light, so I wanted to be able to line it up so that it will have some element of strength. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and remove my pattern paper. Don't forget to add stitching allowance to your pieces when you're cutting out on your patterns, okay, on your actual fabric. So now this is the front pattern, and these ones that I'm removing the pin from right now, this one is going to be the cup. If you've seen my other tutorial, my pattern drafting tutorial, you realize that this is the cup because we did slash and spread method. So we're going to be pleating this into this curve area of the front. Okay, so now the next thing I want to go ahead and do is we are going to be working on the cup pieces first. So the straight part of my cup piece, you can see the very straight part, I'm going to put them together with the lining and just go ahead and stitch it down here. This is the center of the cup, so I'm going to stitch it down here, and I'll do the same thing for the other pieces as well. So guys, this is what it looks like after stitching it down here. You can see where I made the stitch inside here. So this is what I have. Now these are the center pieces of our cup. So what I want to go ahead and do now is to make a gather stitch on this curve area here like this. Make a gather stitch, and then I'll make a gather stitch on this top here as well. So I'll do the same thing for the other piece. Guys, when you make this gather stitches, always make sure not to back stitch. So you can see I made a stitch here and I made another one here. They are gather stitches. I did not back stitch, and I also made sure that I left some threads outside so that I'll be able to pull on them to give me my gathers. I did the same thing for this other piece as well. So now this is one of the cup pieces that we drafted. This was the one we did not cut, so I'm just going to use the top, just measure the top of this cup. What I have here is about 7.5 inch. I am going to be using 7. So the top of this piece here that you see, this cup here, if you've seen the pattern drafting tutorial, you understand what is going on here. So this top now, as you can see, I'm pulling on one of the threads to give me this gather effect. So when I measured that pattern paper just now, you saw that I had 7 inches. So I'm going to pull this top until I get 7 inches. So go ahead and do the same thing. So next you're going to pull on these gathers around here. Okay, so I'm going to pick the top thread as well and pull it. Just pull. If you pull, it's going to be giving you gathers. So by the time you're through with this, you're going to realize that you have something that actually looks like a bra cup in a way. It's going to have like a space on the inside. You can see what I have here. So I'm just using the cup now to just measure on the area where we're going to be placing it. You are going to see that it will look like a W, the places where we're going to be placing our 2 cups. But before I place my cup, I'm going to be stitching down the dart area. You can see on the pattern paper here that we have that, so I'll need to stitch down the dart on this front piece before we come and add the cup. So after stitching down the dart, this is what it looks like. I hope you guys can see it. But first we'll be leaving that part aside and we'll work on the cup pieces first. So I'm just trying to make sure that the cup pieces are staying like the gathers are made are exactly what it should be. I've measured it out. This top area has to be 7 inches. So what I have here is about 7 inches. If it's not up to, I'll just go ahead and spread it out a little bit. So now I've gone ahead to cut out these two pieces. The longer part of this piece is 18 inches and then the shorter part is about 1.5 inch. Okay, so I have two of these. What I'm going to use it to do is to pipe the upper part of this bustier. Okay, I don't know if you guys understand. So just like I'm doing right now, just this upper part that we measured 7 inches earlier, I'm going to use this to just pipe it. So just please try and make sure you're looking at what I'm doing. So you can go ahead and pin it down. So you can see I'm pinning it from the inside. I'm trying to explain this very properly because it might be a little bit tricky. So go ahead and pin it all the way to wherever your cup stops on the bias piece that we have here. So you know this piece that I have here is actually serving like a bias right now. So I'll just pin this cup on it. And what we are going to do is we're going to make a first stitch. So once you are done with that first stitch, you're going to fold this piece again once and then a second time to cover it up like this. So you do it all the way to wherever the cup ends. Now the trick here is when you get to where the cup ends, you're going to continue folding it to give you like a rope. So you continue folding it in like this so that the excess piece of the fabric that we have here is going to serve like a rope. I hope you guys actually understand what I am trying to explain here. So I'll go ahead and do this and just show you guys what I mean. So guys, I think it's a little bit more understandable now that I've stitched it down. So this is what it looks like. So now we're going to be placing this on this curved area here. So can you see what I have here? So I am going to be leaving about 1/2 inch away from the top of the fabric, not the cup now, from the top of the body of the front piece. So I'm going to be placing the cup here, leaving about 1/2 inch away from the top. So from this curved center here where we have this like W effect here, I am going to place the middle of my cup. Okay, go ahead and place it and pin it all the way around the curve you have. Just watch what I'm doing here. Go ahead and do the same thing. So guys, this is what it looks like right after pinning it around. So you have to check it to be sure that it's looking perfectly okay. Make sure to leave about 1/2 inch at the top so that you use it to join the sleeves. So now I am going to add the other part of the cup. So how you're going to do this is you're going to place this a little bit on top of the other cup, just like you see me doing like this, so that your breast is not showing when you wear this. Okay, so once you've done this, go ahead and pin it all the way around as well, and ensure to leave about 1/2 inch at the top to stitch the sleeve together. So guys, this is what it looks like. I am going to go ahead now and just stitch down all these areas that I'm currently holding with my pins. So guys, this is what it looks like now that I'm done stitching down this area. You can see here. So now I'm going to cover the rough edges with my lining. So how I normally like to go about my lining for outfits like this is that I turn the lining over, just like you see me doing like this, turn it over and then pin the center down so that we have like an inside sewing. So I'm going to pin this center down here and then I will go ahead and stitch my lining all the way across the curve from the inside like this. So I'll stitch it all the way to this end on this side, do the same thing for the other side as well, and then when I'm through with that, I'll go ahead and join the sides. So guys, after doing all the inside sewing, you can see how neatly it looks. So if I turn it over to the other side, it looks very weird, but you can see that I have done a lot of work on the side. I've stitched down the side and I stitched all the way around the cup. Because of the way we stitched it down, it's actually very weird to turn it over now. So let's just take it back to the other side where it looks better now. You can see how neat our stitching is on the inside. Okay, so now I'm done with the front piece. Now I also went ahead to stitch the lining pieces to my back pieces, and I went ahead to also stitch down my darts here on the back. So we're going to be joining the front and the back pieces together. So this, just like this, right? But to be able to do this, we need to work on the sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out the sleeve now. So guys, for the sleeve, what I have here is a fabric that I folded into 4 because I want to cut the 2 sleeves together. So from the top here, I'm going to come down by my length for my sleeve. My actual length is actually 23 inches, but I'll be cutting this out with about 25 inches so that the extra 2 inches will be used to fold the ends for my elastic. So as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line and cut out on the 25 inches line. So guys, for the width of the sleeve, that's how wide it is. I just used the whole fabric I have here. It depends on how wide you want it to be, and again, this is even if you're interested in having a sleeve for this particular dress. I wanted a long puff sleeve, so that's why I'm going through with all this process. So I'll just go ahead now and stitch down the ends of the sleeve, which is what I've done here. I stitched down the both ends for the both fabric. You can see I stitch it down here and stitch it down here as well. Okay, so I'm going to be passing elastic through the both places, but one is going to be for the top and the other one is going to be for the end. So the elastic length has to be different. I don't know if you guys understand. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to be giving these sleeves an armhole. It has to have a kind of armhole because when we're drafting our pattern, my pattern paper had an armhole here. So I'll just place the armhole on this cut side of the fabric. Look at the area, not on the folded side. Make sure it's on the cut side and just trim out the armhole just like I'm doing right now. Okay, so now I'm going to be passing elastic through the elastic casings that I got on the sleeves. So guys, for the elastic length, for the area of the sleeve that is going to be around my shoulder, I'm going to be using 10 inches. So for this area that is going to be around the shoulder, I'm going to be using 10 inches and I'll be cutting out 2 for the both sleeves. And for the area that is going to be around my wrist, I'm just going to take a measurement around my wrist. And what I had here was about 6 inches. So I'm going to be using that 6 inches to cut out 2 elastic as well for the area of the sleeve that is going to be around my wrist. So now I'll go ahead and use my safety pin to pass my elastic through the casing. For the longer elastic, I'm going to be passing it through the area of the sleeve that is having an armhole. So please don't forget, that's the area that is going to be on the shoulder, as you can see. So go ahead and pass the longer elastic through that area, and the shorter one is going to be around the sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and do this and then come and show you guys. So guys, we have done passing the elastic through the casing, and what I want to do now is we're going to be joining the front and back pieces together, and we're going to be using the sleeve to do that. So the armhole area of the sleeve and the armhole area of the top, I'm going to go ahead and stitch it together here. I'll do the same thing for the back piece. I'll bring the back piece and join the armhole area together. So this is going to help me join all the pieces together like this. So I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve as well. I will use the other sleeve to also join the front and back pieces. So after I was done using the sleeve to join all the pieces together, you can see what I have here. So guys, now I'm turning everything to the wrong side. I hope you guys actually understand what is going here, because I feel like these pieces are actually a little bit confusing, you get. So right now I'm joining the side pieces together. You can see I'm arranging it and I'm arranging the sleeve as well. So I want to go ahead and join these pieces from the sleeve all the way through to the body part. So I'll join it like this and then to the body. I'll be using my body allowances. I'll be taking my body measurements on this area. So I'll stitch it down here and I'll do the same thing for this other side as well. Guys, so this is what it looks like after stitching down the sleeve and the body part, okay, for the top. So now this is what I had. I already pinned it down here because we have not fixed our zipper to the back yet. Okay, so now what is left is I am going to be adding a skirt part, and for this skirt part you can actually do whatever it is you want to do here. You can make it straight or flare, but for me I decided to cut out a 360 degrees flare. That's what I want to join to the end of this dress to make it a gown. So you can see what I have here. So this is what I'm going to be joining to the end of this particular dress. So guys, since my flare is a full 360 degrees flare, so I'm just going to be cutting out one side of it, as you can see, so I'll be able to open it up. So just go ahead and do the same thing. If you do not know how to go about cutting a 360 degrees flare, the tutorial link is going to be in my description box. I already have that video up on the channel. So right now, as you can see, I have opened up my flare on one side and I'm just arranging it around the waist area of my dress. Okay, so for this particular one, because this fabric actually moves when you are cutting, the flare was actually a little bit too wide, so I decided to cut it off after I was done stitching it down. So I actually cut off the excess, so you can see what it looks like after I was done stitching this flare to the waistline. Now this is actually very easy to do. I just hope that you guys actually understand what I'm doing here. So I stitched the flare all the way around the waistline. Because this flare was a little bit too big for my waist, the excess that I had, I went ahead to cut it out, and after that I just stitched from about 7 inches away from the waist all the way to the end, leaving some space at the top for my zipper. You guys know that we're going to be placing a zipper at this top area here. Okay, so I started my stitch from about 7 inches below the waistline and went ahead to stitch it down. So from here now, I'm going to go ahead and place a zip. I know I'm supposed to use a matching color of zipper, but this is what I have right now, so we're going to use it. And after fixing the zipper, we just go ahead and hem the end of the dress, and that'll basically be all for this tutorial. So guys, this is the final look of the dress after I was done making everything, after attaching the zipper to the back and hemming the ends, as you can see. And this is what the front is looking like. You can actually decide to do so many things with this. You can decide to have a slit on the flare area. You can decide to have this dress to be handless. You can decide to have like a little puff sleeve. Whatever it is you want, honestly, you can do with this dress. So this is what it looked like on me after I was done making this dress. I totally love how it came out, and you can see how cute the bustier is looking. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you find it helpful, and I will definitely be seeing you guys in my next one. Bye.